Okay, we are
All
on
right.
the air.
Calling the Zoning Board of Adjustment regular meeting hearing to order. This is the revised agenda of June 15th, 2021 meeting at 7:32 p.m. Jerry? Call to order and statement of compliance. Why do I feel like I'm feedback?
They were worked on today, so push it, Ed, just push it back a little.
We better
Yeah,
go
I'm
back
trying.
to Zoom.
It's our throwback to Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah, call to order and statement of compliance. Adequate notice of this meeting. Oh my God, what's wrong with this? Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting a copy of the public meeting dates on the municipal bulletin board and website, by sending a copy to the Echo Sentinel and Courier News and newspapers, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. Standard board procedures. Any hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Meeting cutoff. Announcement is made that as a matter of procedure, it is the intention of the Zoning Board of Adjustment not to continue any matter past 10:30 p.m. at any regular or special meeting of the board unless a motion is passed by the members then present to extend the meeting to a later specified cutoff time. Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And what did you want me to mention before the roll call?
That this is a revised agenda.
Yes, I already said it.
Yeah, that's it, you're good. Roll call?
Roll call.
Right, and welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
Live.
Live and in
Live and in
person, we have a
person.
full board.
Saturday Night Live.
Sorry,
Tuesday Night
I'm
Live.
sorry, I digress. Okay. Mr. Aronio,
I'm here.
Mr. Giannakis,
Here.
Mr. Grosskopf,
Here.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Here.
Mr. Hain,
Here.
Ms. Robertson,
Here.
Vice Chairman Johnson,
Here.
Chairman Garrett.
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Very good. And welcome, everybody. Welcome back. It's strange to be here again in person. It's nice, though. It's good. I mean, it beats looking at little squares on a computer. Okay, we have the application first. It's a bulk variance carried from 6/1/2021, block 12001, lot 6, zone R3. Located at 142 Northfield Road, application number 21-04Z. It's Sakaria and Sama. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It's Kallappuracal. Fine, easy for you to say. Applicant proposed in addition to a single-family residence. Now, this application was carried, the applicant had put on his, I believe his entire case, but we had some absent board members. And based on the absent board members, the applicant wanted to wait till a full board. And I assume that all the absent board members have looked at and read the, looked at the zoning Zoom meeting.
Yes.
And have signed that document that said they did?
Correct.
Okay, great. So what I'd like to do is have the applicant just restate, what his position is, and then I'll allow the members who weren't present last time to ask whatever questions they deem appropriate, and then we'll have a closing and we'll deliberate.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's great to see everybody, and thank you again so much for allowing us to continue this application this evening. So, my client is, I'm sorry, the mic does work?
Yeah.
Hang on a sec.
Or if you're more comfortable, you can use the portable. It's up to you.
Either way,
Either way.
Now, we can hear you
as
now.
long as you can hear me. My client actually is in the building somewhere. He's making his way here, but I figured I could give a brief overview, and I just wanted to call Mr. Melendez, our architect, just very briefly to address one item that he previously testified to. So if we could begin with that.
Sure.
So, Mr. Melendez, you were previously sworn and qualified, but
Yes.
Right.
And
And you remain sworn, and
you're still qualified?
you are still qualified.
Assuming nothing bad happened between now and then.
All right, so what we would like to bring to your attention was that the adjacent dwelling is set back, and we did an estimate that the addition on the north side, it would be about 40 feet away from the adjacent neighbor. If we were to put the addition on the back, just taking the same shade, the same deck that he has on the back, it would be 30 feet closer to the adjacent property. So, it is really more ideal to stay on the north side.
Thank you.
That's really the
Can
point.
I ask you a question about that? You
Yeah.
said it'd be 40 feet from the neighbor on the north side.
Right.
Is that 40 feet from the property line, or is that 40 feet from
No,
the
actually, what I
building?
did was, I took the addition and I did a diagonal, the direct distance between the corner of their house, and if, I didn't have that diagram, but this is the addition. If it would be here, I took the corner, the northwest corner in a diagonal.
To
And
the,
I took-
to the building?
To the building.
Okay, because it
And I
doesn't
put-
seem like there's 40 feet
No,
there
it was 40
in
feet
property
that way
line. Okay.
in an angle. But then when
Right.
you put it in the back, you're 30 feet away because it's a horizontal.
So you did it, is that the closest point that they'll
Yes,
be?
yes.
Okay.
How far is the building on the north from the current deck?
I would say maybe about 50 feet. In a diagonal, taking the corner to the corner.
So the addition is bigger than the deck.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question that's not exactly related to that, but might be?
sure.
So, in the past, I think the neighboring property was looking to do some construction. Has anybody talked to that neighbor? The one we were talking about, the closest point? The one that faces, the other street, not Northfield, it faces,
Well, no, it faces Northfield, it's just on the corner.
oh, right, thank you,
Yes.
thank you,
The
Ed.
driveway
For the
is
record,
on.
It's 158 Northfield, it's block 12001, lot 4. And my client previously testified, and he can certainly reiterate that, he did meet with his neighbors and reviewed the plan and development proposal, and they had no objection to the
Okay.
application.
Just because at one point I had, this is from a long time ago, but I remember them talking about, or we might have seen a preview of an application where they were talking about coming in and turning that house, not doing a knockdown.
I don't
and
particularly
face-
remember that, but that's.
And facing the side street.
I can say, and I believe they're relatively new neighbors, correct?
Okay, so that was
So,
sold then?
Probably an old person,
Okay.
old neighbor doing that.
All right.
That's
Thank
all.
you.
Well,
Never mind
before you, any other, yes, go ahead.
Just one follow-up question. You mentioned that you think it's about 50 feet from the deck to the adjacent house right now,
Well, actually,
approximately?
taking the corner of the house, not the deck.
Okay, but I think the question that was asked was what's the approximate space between the edge of
Deck.
the deck to the existing house, not the house?
The north,
Yeah, it
Corner.
would be the northwest corner
Right.
of it.
to the,
I mean,
I mean, it looks like it's
I'd say
approximately,
35 feet.
yeah, it's pretty close to your setback,
Yeah,
25, 30
right.
feet, somewhere in that.
Because if you put the addition, it would go 12 feet back, and I took the corner of the new addition, rotated, of course, 90 degrees, and the closest point was 30. So if I had it on the north side, this corner here to this corner was 40. So it was like that, because one was in a diagonal, the other one was in a horizontal, because it's closer to it.
Okay.
Plus, if they did it on the back, they would have put the deck on as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that, everything would move backwards.
Well,
And
I mean, that's not necessarily true. You could put the deck in the L, right? You can put the deck right in between in that spot there, and then it's concealed from both sides, and you got your own
Could
little
do it
private
that way.
space. So it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to go back.
No, I know. So it was just like.
but if it did, it would be close.
Correct.
And that wouldn't require a variance, is that correct?
Not to the back,
Correct.
right.
Any other questions of board members? Any board member, go ahead.
I did watch the video last night, but I just want to be clear. So what are the variances? Maybe this isn't for you, or this might be for the attorney. What are the variances that you're
Planner.
seeking at this point?
So working off the Phillips Price letter, just to confirm we're all on
Yeah.
the same page, there's an existing nonconformity for minimum lot width, so that's 150 is required, 100 is existing and proposed. We're actually eliminating a nonconformity for minimum floor area, funny enough, the house is not large enough in its present condition for the zone. It requires 1,500 square feet. Existing is 1,353, and we're proposing a total of 1,668, so that will be eliminated. And then the side yard setback variance is the one we were just focusing on, where 25 is required, 24.6, which is an existing nonconformity, is existing, and 12.6 is proposed.
It's the side yard.
Correct.
Setback.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Any members of the public wish to ask a question of their expert?
No, Mr. Chairman, just for the record, that's our professional planner.
That's, I didn't know who else, I can't see who else was sitting out there, so that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Because I really don't know if there was anybody sitting.
No, no.
Okay. Okay, so now I don't have to ask you if there's anybody on Zoom, I can actually see them, almost.
You do not have to ask me.
All right, do you want your planner to testify, or you think there's a?
I believe she set forth the
Okay,
the
well, let me ask, are there any questions of the board members, of their planner that didn't get a chance to ask last time because they weren't here? Do you have a question for their planner? No? Okay. All right, good. I still keep getting a hit.
I know.
I know. I mean, unless you want to, why don't you turn your mic off, Ed, and see if.
Then nobody, then,
I know, there's a new, it's a new sound system too, so if you
well,
turn.
I can't turn it off.
It's the new Zoom sound system.
It won't turn off.
Can you
You
unplug it?
get feedback.
It's because he's the boss.
No, you know what? What if you do it like that?
It
Yeah,
won't turn
or
off.
just-
Okay, how about like that? That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
That one is the one that was giving me the feedback, I think. All right.
Blame my
Yeah,
microphone.
yeah, because I pushed it away.
It's that plate in your head.
Yeah, it's a plate in my head. So they put a new one in that acts worse than the old one.
Well, it was just
Gotta get
worked
new
on
mics.
today, so it's, we're the trial.
Can it be worked on tomorrow?
It's probably gonna be, yep,
Because it needs it.
as I text everybody, oh,
Okay,
it's not
great.
working.
I wonder if the mics are copacetic.
Mine's fine.
Maybe the gain on the mics are not set right. Yeah. All right,
I
so
am not
that
a
aside,
friend person.
they'll have to make it what it is. All right. So, would you like to do a closing argument
Just
or a
very,
closing
very,
statement?
very briefly, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, and thank you all again, I really do appreciate it. It's a relatively modest proposal that's before the board. The increase that's being proposed as part of the addition to the footprint of the building is 315 square feet. The total addition is 630 square feet. The applicant previously testified, really what they're looking for is to gain some multi-purpose type space on the first floor and then a formal living, or family room rather, on the second floor, which is important to their family. I have to say our architect did a nice job in presenting a design that really complements the existing condition. It's going to look like a seamless addition. If you didn't know that they were adding on to the house, you would presume it was there all along. And really, as I mentioned, it complies with virtually all the zoning ordinance requirements. We do seek the setback variance, but I think in this particular case, we've set forth a good planning case for C2 variance or C1 variance based on the municipal land use law criteria. That this is really the least intrusive proposal that we could come up with based on the setback. So that's all I would have, and I do again appreciate the board's time and consideration. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rosenberg, would you like to start the deliberation?
Okay. I appreciate everything that you presented. I think that in regards to your the narrowness of the lot and the odd placement, I guess, of the neighbor to the north, and the fact that it appears that, you know, often one of the things I like to take into consideration is the neighbors actually showing some concern, if there was a neighbor here, to show some concern to this. I know the neighbor on the other side testified, I believe, that she wasn't concerned, you know, she, I think it was she, approved of this. So therefore, I think that because of the condition of the lot and the odd placement of the neighbor and the fact that as testified by the architect, that the addition will look seamless and fit in with the neighborhood. I know there was also mention that this neighborhood, there are a number of narrow lots, and that wouldn't be unusual, I guess, for the neighborhood, although I guess that's not necessarily a criteria we would be looking at. But I think that it wouldn't stand out in this neighborhood, and I think that as a result, I think it makes the home more useful, more appropriate, and I would support this application.
Thank you. Mr. Aronio?
So I pretty much agree with everything he said. I'm generally, don't really like to encroach on the neighbor too closely, right? But there's no opposition here, so nobody came out and said they don't like it. I assume everybody got the notice, and maybe they don't know about the meeting. I doubt that, but I think it's pretty minor. And I'm just want to be clear on the 40 feet. It's 40 feet between the buildings, right? There's 40 feet between the buildings, which does give them some significant distance, and it's, minor considering it's 50 feet would be required, I think, if you were to go from setback to setback. So, in general, I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Mr. Malloy?
I'm in favor as well, for the reasons that have previously been mentioned. Thanks.
Mr. Giannakis?
I think you've put a lot of thought into trying to make it a seamless connection to the rest of the house, and the obvious would have been to, go to the back, and you've exhibited some good reasons why that might be more detrimental to the neighbor who is not objecting to this. Perhaps they might have objected to something that wasn't going to require a variance. So, can't speculate there, but I'm in favor of this application the way it's been presented.
Thank you. Mr. Groko?
At first blush, when we got our paperwork, or printed our paperwork, I took a look and I was not in favor of this application. However, I want to get to that really quickly. However, how you've designed this house is, people will drive down the street and look and say, this is seamless, this is the way it would normally look. You are not encroaching upon the neighbor in a burdensome fashion. You're a little closer, yes, but you're not going to be seeing what they're having for dinner. So that being the case, the positives and the negatives weigh out, and I will be in favor of this proposal.
Mr. Hain?
Because the other neighbor is set back, and the way you laid it out, I think makes a lot of sense, that if you went into the back of the house, which you have a long backyard, yes, then you'd be kind of closer. So I thought this was well thought out, and I do agree with it. Thank you.
Ms. Robinson?
I don't really have anything to add. I agree with everything that's been said, so I would be in favor as well.
Vice Chairman Jones?
I agree with what my colleagues have said. However, I would like to, for the record, note that I don't believe this qualifies as a C1 hardship variance. I believe it does meet the qualifications for a C2 flexible variance on the positive criteria. However, on the negative criteria, I do not think it is demonstrated that the side yard setback is the only viable solution for this property, and I don't think the negative criteria has been established to justify the side yard setback, so I'm not in favor of the application.
Thank you. I was a little concerned with where the placement was, but after looking at the property and seeing how it sits on the street, and also how it sits next to the neighbor, and how the floor plan was done, I believe that putting it on the side is probably the best solution, because it is further away from the house next to it. It does lend to a better floor plan on the house itself, and I don't think the next door neighbor would be as intruded upon as if it was on the back of the house, because that would be putting the mass of the house closer to their house. So sometimes getting closer to the side yard doesn't always mean that you're intruding upon your neighbor as much as if you put it somewhere else. So I think that the positives and negatives were satisfied for the variance, and I believe that due to the narrowness of most of those properties on that street, and they're very different widths on those streets. They're all different. Nothing's really the same. It's very eclectic. I think this house, if no one knew where the property line was, I think the house is going to look normal. Knowing where the property line is, I don't think it's going to look that much worse, because there's trees there. It's not right up against another building. So I would be in favor of it. So who's qualified to vote?
Well,
7.
yes,
Yes.
first
Okay.
I think Yolanda should go over any conditions of
Yes.
approval.
Yes, the only conditions of approval that I noted during the testimony was landscaping.
Yeah.
That the applicant would add the landscaping on the side to further buffer the addition from the neighboring property owners, and that will be to the satisfaction of the board professionals. And I note also that Mr. Malloy and Mr. Aronio are qualified to vote. They have signed, and I gave you the other two.
And I'd just like to note also, thank you to Ms. Robertson and Mr. Hain, who are board alternates, for reviewing the video in case you were needed for voting tonight, so I appreciate
Yes.
that.
That's always apprecited.
Yes.
You never know who might not appear or
Thank you.
get sick or something. All right, roll call? Motion, I'm sorry. Would Mr. Rosenberg like to make a motion?
I'll be asking. Sure. Motion to approve the bulk variance for application 21-04Z.
Second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Very good. Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf,
Yes.
Mr. Aronio,
Yes.
Mr. Giannakis,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Johnson,
No.
Chairman Correct.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Good luck. Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you. All right, the next thing we have is the resolution. Did everybody have a chance to read the resolution? Two resolutions, I'm sorry.
I apologize.
What?
Deborah reminded me, and I forgot to send it.
Okay, that's fine. We have them here.
Horrible.
Horrible, that's just horrible.
Well, thankfully, we have a nice, easy night tonight.
We have,
Yes.
the hearing date on both of them were May 4th.
Yep.
Board action was May 4th.
So
And,
everyone is eligible to
I'm not
vote except for Mr. Aronio and Mr. Giannakis on these two resolutions.
Okay, great.
That's why I said you're not up.
Now, taking the Joe and Carla Gabelli, 75 Cottage Place, Gillette, Block 13407 and Lot 38, application number 2021-01Z. Any comments or changes on that resolution?
No comments on this.
Okay.
I know they're
Hearing-
getting ready. They're,
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Okay,
Roll call.
roll call.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf,
yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Hain,
Yes.
Ms. Robertson,
Yes.
Chairman Correct.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Now we have the resolution of Marco and Marilidi Cavallari. It's 95 East Rayburn Road, Millington, New Jersey, Block 12702, Lot 38, application number 2021-06Z. And who is the same people qualified for this one, right? Deborah, same people?
Yes.
Okay. Any changes or comments on this one?
No.
Okay, hearing none, can I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Hain,
Yes.
Ms. Robertson,
Yes.
Chairman Correct.
Yes,
Motion carries.
great, terrific. Now we have, all right, now guys, we have new business actually. Did everybody see the email that,
No, I didn't send the email.
oh, you didn't send?
I
Okay,
printed it
it's-
and gave it to everybody.
I'm sorry. It's printed as an email, but it wasn't sent to us. It's a printed out, it's big print, thank you, I can see it.
Actually, that was
Without the
training.
glass.
Yes, yeah, I can see without my glasses. It's Mr. Finley's application to the zoning board was filed on, I'm gonna read it out loud, on March 9, 2021. You have informed me that the application has been deemed complete. You are awaiting receipt of the completeness letter. You are awaiting receipt of the completeness letter, and the earliest Mr. Finley's application may be heard is August 17th. The subject property contains two principal residential dwellings that have existed since at least the early 1800s. Mr. Finley was unaware that the township ordinance permits only one principal building per lot when he placed his property for sale. He therefore filed an application for a use variance in order to obtain the necessary official documentation demonstrating that the property conforms with all township zoning ordinances or is otherwise a legal use. The purchaser requires this documentation before closing. Mr. Finley was fortunate to find a purchaser for his unique property who has been willing to delay closing until the zoning board hears and decides the application. It was initially anticipated the application could be heard in late May, early June. You advised that as a result of the necessity to carry and/or to continue applications, as well as the board's backlog of pending applications, that time period was then required to be pushed back to late June, early July. Even with the scheduling of special meetings, you now advise that the earliest Mr. Finley's application could be scheduled for August 17th, or it may not. We understand that the board's schedule is very demanding. However, what appears to be at least a 6-month process, assuming the application is heard on the scheduled date and the resolution is passed the following month, and even considering Governor Murphy's time extension, such a delay could jeopardize Mr. Finley's sale. No modifications to any part of the subject property or improvements are proposed. The property would remain in its current condition. The variance request is solely to permit the 2 homes that have existed on the property since at least the early 1800s to remain. While we plan to present a professional planner to address the proof criteria, we do not anticipate that this application would be lengthy in any reasonable sense. You can hopefully understand the purchaser's concern regarding the scheduling of this application inasmuch as he called you yesterday for a scheduling status. Inasmuch as Mr. Finley's property has characteristics that render it unique, it is the heightened importance to him as the seller to maintain his contractual relationship with the purchaser. Towards this end, Mr. Finley hereby requests that the board schedule a special meeting at its earliest convenience whereas whereat his application may be heard and decided. Mr. Finley will pay the $325 cost for the special meeting. Thank you for your consideration. And that's from his attorney, Donna M. Aram. So, seeing that, and I don't know, when would this special meeting be placed on, so we have an idea, if we so choose to do it?
Well, that's a good question. We could do any Wednesday night that's not,
A meeting night,
that's not, huh?
Say Wednesday?
yeah,
I said a Wednesday. Thursdays are court,
right.
so we can't do Thursdays anymore. We have July 27th available.
I thought Wednesdays used to be court, they moved it to
No.
Thursday.
Thursdays. No, Wednesdays are
Township committee.
Right, but I
Township
thought the
committee.
alternate Wednesdays were court.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, Thursdays. So as far as Tuesdays go, we have July 27th, which is only literally, well, it's 3 weeks prior to the date that I would have assigned them. It's all of August 17th. So I would say that we could do a Monday. We could do a Wednesday. You can't do Monday. So can you do a Wednesday?
Depends what Wednesday.
Okay. So there are some Wednesdays that could be available if the board wants to consider, obviously,
Is this an in-person meeting?
yes.
Yes.
It can't be done remotely while this room is being used by someone else?
I don't think we can go back and forth. You want
No, I don't think that's.
We
Can I
can't
ask
go
a
back to
question about
Zoom
the
for-
application itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it an actual complete application? Has it been deemed complete?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I was just, I read that, it was.
Yeah, I want to make sure of that. And then,
And why is it
They
necessary?
have until the end.
They have until the-
Until the end
And they're-
of August, consider it.
Yeah.
Well, that's in, yeah.
okay.
Well, what days would we be able to pick?
Let's see, today's the
I'm not saying we're gonna do it, I'm just saying what days are there?
All right, so we could do July 7th,
Okay.
July 21st,
July 7th or July what?
July 21st.
21st.
Those are Wednesdays.
Are we already scheduled for special meetings?
I'm sorry?
We're already scheduled for special meetings.
Correct. The board already voted to hold,
Well, we
In
added-
July?
This is an extra stuff.
yes.
extra.
This is an extra.
Yeah,
So-
extra stuff.
Extra. So the board has already scheduled July 20th and August 31st as special meetings. However, they are to accommodate the board's busy schedule right now. So those are special meetings that the board has elected to do and not charge applicants for putting them on those applications. Because this applicant obviously is, not happy with the fact that the board is busy, they've asked the board now to consider a private special meeting for them alone.
Now, the real important question is, how many of us as board members would be available on those dates of July 7th or July 21st? I mean, if,
July 7th for me is iffy.
okay,
I'm
It's
not available
50-50
July
right
7th.
now.
You're not, okay. Who else is not available July 7th? You don't have it on top of your head what you're doing? Okay. The wife hasn't told you? You know, I'm just trying to get it because it's not even worth it if no one's around. So we have 2 people absent on July 7th. How about July 21st? How many people would be here or not here on July 21st?
And
Nobody.
again, this is a use variance,
Yeah.
so the applicant needs 7 voting members.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Five affirmative, unless they're going for a certificate of nonconformity.
Mr.
I
Chairman, that-
think
that-
they're basically gonna, I think when they plead their case, they're gonna leave it up to the
They're gonna
board.
ask for both.
Yeah, they're gonna ask for both.
But see, so, I mean, my concern with July 21st is we have a meeting July 20th.
Yeah.
And it's fairly, we've got 2
Yeah.
pull ones, and then we've got another use variance, which is, we're gonna start.
Yeah.
So, first question is, can we insert another application? Because that one more than likely is gonna carry, I have to think, probably.
Yeah, the 329 Main was
Yeah.
probably mostly carried,
So
yeah.
if we started on July 20th, can we carry to a subsequent one and insert another job in between the 2?
Not if they've asked you for a special meeting, so we cannot. They'll be paying for this special meeting.
But
So
if we gave them one on a regular day, they didn't have to pay.
No, I understand what you mean, but
That would be the August 17th one, is
Yeah.
that we'd be giving them. They're not happy with the regular special meeting, they want a special one.
And the August 17th meeting's a problem because
Supposedly, it's too
so-
late for their closing.
well, yes, it's, yes. We have statutorily, without considering the governor's extension because of the COVID extensions, statutorily, we have until August 25th to schedule them. So technically, we're still in our time frame if we give them August 17th. But because of, and this scenario has been going on, for quite some time, they just submitted, they only just submitted in March their application. So it becomes a matter of, I told them, I said, this is the best I can do as the board secretary to give you August 17th based on the other applications we have. So that's why they're requesting the board to consider the special.
And this meeting could potentially take either the whole meeting or a good part of it, because there's a lot of testimony, there's a lot of.
Or maybe even multiple meetings.
Well, that's my concern, because
Correct.
if you remember the Sterling Hotel, like, that was the whole question
I don't
of,
know
this was
anything
built
about
when, we were trying to figure out.
Oh, I know,
Getting
I
it,
know.
this isn't necessarily a quick meeting.
No, I know that,
2 houses.
but they've asked for something, guys. They've asked for something, and we have to consider whether we want to comply with their request or leave it on August 17th and let the chips fall where they may.
Can I ask more questions about the application? Because that might help me
Yes.
determine that. So they're asking us to say that this is okay. We're going to bless this mess that they have there, 2 houses on 1 property.
Sure.
Is there another alternative? Can they go to the planning board and have the property lines redrawn? Can they do that?
I don't know.
They could request a subdivision, yeah.
Could I
They
ask-
can- everybody has a right to subdivide if they can do it.
Well, it depends. I mean, if they don't have enough.
They have the right to ask for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering, if we have any more information, or is this is all we know? This is the only thing that we have? This is all we know?
We have the address?
The address is 1552, 1554 Long Hill Road.
How was the property conveyed?
Good question. It's sold many, many times, and nobody's brought this up.
When we started having realtors and attorneys looking into this property, and they contacted us via Oprah request, when we started looking into some of the documents, we don't have any documents in town hall that exist that either stated that it was an existing grandfathered property with these 2 homes. They're 2 primary, literally houses.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, okay. So, and nor did we have any documentation of any previous board meetings.
Action.
Correct, board action. So
Or
when we
municipal
explained,
action,
right,
right,
when we
yeah.
explained that to the,
He says 18.
I think it was the title company or the insurance, I don't really know much about real estate closing, so, but basically they said, no, I'm sorry, we're not gonna do this because it's non-conforming.
So, I think the
That's
main,
2 houses?
the main thing here is, it's this house and the new one that's.
And there's like a barn in front.
Yeah, there's a big barn, there's quite a few structures
If you
on the
go-
lot.
That's the
And there's
one
2
house,
families living in it?
Yeah,
and that's the back.
I always figured it was.
The yellow.
No.
One
One was a-
house, a red barn.
First
Um,
second.
house
Yeah.
back.
It's a strange layout. What I suspect is, way back when, there was a family that decided to give their kids a house and go to the back.
Probably.
Yeah, guys, no, please, go on the record, please don't have any side conversations, because you can screw up the tape. So, we have 2 members vacant on July 7th, which is not good, that not gonna be here, because then we're down to 5 members. And it
Correct.
takes all 5. So I don't think they're gonna want that.
We have alternates.
Well, we have alternates, yeah.
Right, okay.
That would equal 7, but
It would be 7, okay. Well, okay, so we could do them a favor and do it on the 7th, but I want them to suffer with us.
Yep.
No, I'm teasing. July 21st, that would be right after the July 20th meeting.
Correct.
So it'd be 2 meetings back to back.
Mhm.
Or just leave it on the 17th. All right, let me start, what do you think, Mr. Hain? What would you, propose? 17th, Mr. Giannakis?
Was it August or July 17th?
August 17th.
I would move it up to help accommodate what has to happen here for their transaction to be successful.
So you would move to either the 7th or the 21st?
Which one? 7th or 21st?
Oh, I have to pick which one?
No, just
I'm
give me a-
available both, so.
Either
let me
one,
know,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Mr. Coco?
Thank you. I wouldn't want to do back-to-back 20th and 21st.
Okay, so you'd want to go with the 7th or leave it on the 7th?
7th, if we can make it.
It's back to back on the 6th.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Six,
oh,
seven,
it's
six,
10,
It's
7.
back to back either
20,
way.
21st, both are back.
Either way is back to back.
Yeah, because there's a committee meeting like in between your weeks in July.
That works.
So you want to leave it on the 17th?
I would leave it on the
Okay.
17th.
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 17th?
Agreed.
17th? Jerry?
Sure.
Go.
I can do any of the July dates, so.
Yeah.
17th.
So, how many people in favor of leaving it on the 17th?
Aye.
Raise your hand.
Aye.
Leaving it on the 17th, guys? Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, leave it on
Leave
the
it on the
17th.
17th, done.
It's the 17th, sorry about that, guys. We gotta go with what we, I don't wanna put any more strain on our already, busy schedule. So,
I
Been
agree.
there since the 1800s, it can wait another month. right?
yeah, exactly. But, unfortunately, it is what it is, and we didn't make it that way, so.
I know,
All
I,
right.
Deb, just as an administrative process, so when it's on the 17th, it's not a special meeting anymore?
no, so the 17th of August was the actual scheduled meeting for the
Right.
board for the month of August.
So-
The special meeting that we added for August is the 31st.
Okay, so when we start 329 Main and probably carry it to the 17th, that will
Yes.
continue, and then this will follow that?
Yes.
It'll get
Is it-
pushed.
So it may not
But
finish on.
honestly, quite honestly, what I'll do, because I don't have anything scheduled for the 31st yet, if we have a carryover from 329 Main, or even
You put it
even,
on the 31st.
I'm gonna put it on the 31st of
Yeah.
August.
That would probably be.
Yes, because,
Give them a whole day.
correct, actually, I'm sorry. So the 224, 230 Main application, which is another use variance, that's starting on July 6th. If they carry over, I'll carry them over to the 17th first. And give them just a certain amount of time.
July.
Yes, carry them over July 6th to August 17th. If 329 carries over from July 20th, I'll give them August 31st.
I thought we just booked this guy for August 17th.
We did,
So we have 2 that night?
yep, we could.
We could.
Maybe.
But we could also, the board can also limit the time, so
Right.
the board can say, they can give the carryover an hour.
Because, I'm going to say, if the carryover goes long, and we just told this guy no to 3 dates that he gave us, and then he can't get it done on the 17th, I don't want to be there
No, we'll have to,
for that message.
no, we'll have to start it.
We'll
I
try
mean,
to accommodate it.
quite honestly, I would prefer to probably move, if the Main Street carries over, I think we just do both of the carryovers on the 31st.
I think that would be a better idea.
Because, yeah, it's still-
Split it evenly. between
Right,
the two
and
of them, right.
we still allow them a meeting in August,
Yeah.
and then we can give this 1552, 1554
This whole
long,
tonight
right,
on the
its
I
whole
think that's
meeting.
a better idea.
And then we don't have to worry about the time frame.
Exactly. All right, no other businesses? No other business?
Nope.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second. Okay, we are adjourned at 8:02 PM.
Terrific.
All right,
That's
We could have heard that.
very good.
One of the nights.
Her time.
Good work, guys.